Ericon asks, sorry if it's off topic, but what do you think of the future of the gacha space? It seems like the community with every release is getting more and more fragmented. People can only play a few gachas, and there are several massive titles coming out / have come out. If I were to answer this question in without repeating myself too much compared to the tweet that I did, because I did put out a tweet. I'm not gonna go look for the tweet because it's like deep, like a month deep maybe, or 3 weeks deep. But basically, I put out a tweet saying that I also felt exhausted with having to keep up with as many gacha games as I do as a content creator. As a content creator, there's only so many games that I can play, create content for, be active in, and produce. As a player, I don't think this limitation exists as strongly as it does for a creator, but I do think that the limitation is still there. Your main issue is now you are playing a large collective of gacha games, so to speak, that are either all copying one another, copying from one another, or not original enough. There has to be something that separates a lot of things. So if I were to look at this the way that I kind of solidified it to myself, and again, very hard decision to do, right? You kind of have to pick. I would say get an open world gacha game. One, done. That's it. You get your turn-based game, an idle game. Your idle game can't be Star Rail. It can, but let me elaborate. If your idle game is Star Rail, you don't pick up another idle game. If your idle game is Nikke, you can pick up another. Like you can play Nikke and Brown Dust 2 and like not feel burnt out, right? But if you play Nikke, Brown Dust 2 and Star Rail, or like Nikke, Star Rail and Genshin, or Nikke, Star Rail and Wuthering, you will burn out. You can't do it. Even if storage, because I see that you're talking about that, Inferno, even if storage wasn't an issue and like you're playing mainly on PC, your phone, or even your handheld, like the iPad or something like that, or the new Red Magic tablet, things like that. It's not about the storage. It's about how much these games require from you. Yeah, I don't even know if I would consider HSR an idle game anymore, because like you have to play it, right? I can't auto run to where I need and collect everything and do whatever. You have to play that game. Wuthering, you have to play that game. Even if you can, because I know somebody always says it, right? Like you don't need to min-max the builds. You can get away with like half-assing them. Sure, you still have to go grind it. I thought about this for content because I people think that I hate it. I don't hate Wuthering. Like I genuinely do like Wuthering. Some things just piss me the fuck off. Just like Genshin, just like Star Rail, whatever. I thought about this concept, starting over in Wuthering. It's been about 5 months, going on 6. If I started over on Wuthering, where would I feel? How would I feel about the game? What would I pick? Who would I invest into? Whatever. And while it's very enticing, the idea is very enticing because it's fire fucking. If from me, that's fire content. I'm telling y'all right now, I make a banger ass video. But then I thought about how long it took me to get to UL, what was it, 45 or 55, whatever it was. The point to where you can get gold echoes. The point to where I could co-op with friends and have things to do. And the point to where my characters felt more fleshed out. That took me, without wailing, because I was one of the last creators to reach that point, almost a month, like 3-ish weeks, give or take, of just casually playing the game. If I were to redo that and it took another 3-ish weeks or a month to casually play the game, exactly, Inferno, it doesn't respect my time. I would waste so much time doing all this other stuff to essentially fully prepare the account before fully enjoying whatever it is that's going on. And now at a point, this is why I say it's enticing. Wuthering has so much more story to enjoy, although you would have missed out on a lot of events. It has so much more to do now with the, they've made events permanent now, like Elusive Realm, things like that. There's a lot more to do, but the overworld aspect of the game, excuse me, the overworld aspect of the game is still not there enough to keep you in the game all day, at least not by yourself. And a lot of the gacha community plays by themselves, but whatever. Anyway, point being is that exists. So the idea that I had would require me to not play any other game. I would only play Wuthering and maybe Star Rail, or maybe Nikke, or maybe Brown Dust, maybe Snowbreak, whatever. The general gist of what I'm getting at though is that like, if you're looking at it, because like the future of gacha is really good. Fob made a quote tweet to what I was talking about that tweet, and he made a really good point. He said that having too many options is good. This feels like a golden age of gacha games. I agree with that. I think having too many options is good, but I also think it's bad. Not even just from a creator perspective anymore, from a player perspective. There's a key thing that I always bring it up, and I know a lot of other people, a lot of the players, time is subjective to you. I value my time completely differently than somebody else. And my time, funny enough, Bob was saying this the other day about your quote when mentioning you. Really? What did he say? Was it good or bad? Tell me. But my time is valued differently than someone else's time, right? And a good example of this is like, we were talking about this earlier because I moved. I value time away from my desk now. I didn't realize that before, right? Because I was so focused on content and like pumping out whatever and studying, getting material, whatever. I value getting the fuck up and going to my couch to watch TV. Like I value watching, like I'm gonna pick a random Legacies. You know, me and Moon started watching Legacies because she's ran through the gauntlet. I told her about Vampire Diaries. She got hooked. Shit's so fucking good. Then I told her about Originals. She got hooked. Just finished it. Now we're watching Legacies. We just watched like 4 episodes yesterday. I value my time watching that with her, even if I'm not like talking a lot. Like she talks a lot. She rambles. But I value my time watching that with her so much more. So having a list of gacha games to go through, right? Imagine, gotta do my dailies in Wuthering, gotta do my dailies in Nikke, gotta do my dailies in Soul Break, gotta do my dailies in Brown Dust 2, gotta do my dailies in Star Rail, gotta do my dailies in Genshin. Too much. By the time I've done everything, hours have gone by of what essentially is considered work, right? So when you limit yourself, as hard as this is, trust me, I know, it's hard for me now and I still haven't made a decision. As Rihu does this shit, and it's crazy to me that he does it, right? Rihu wakes up in the morning, plays gachas, goes to bed, plays gachas. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? But he has the time to do that. I would pick 2 gachas. What are you talking? You know what the fuck you did. What up, Speed? The new place is nice. I'm still getting accustomed to it. I'm still using it, but you know, it's good. And but to round that off, right? If I were to pick 2 games, again, you have to pick an open world. I say open world because the top 3 games right now that are open world, or rather top 5, 3 of the top 5 games are open world or open world-esque. Genshin, Wuthering, Zenless. Pick one, drop the other 2. You can play like more if you want, but if I were to give anybody advice, it would literally be pick one of the 3, drop the other 2, and then pick up an idle game. Now we've established that Star Rail is not idle. It's not a casual game. I have a whole video that's going to be dedicated to that, but I guess maybe I could briefly talk about it now. Star Rail is not casual. The amount of work that you have to do in Star Rail is not from a casual perspective, right? What you have to do in the game in order to keep up with the game, in order to have a strong account, you have to put in work. If you play this game casually and you don't know, basically, how do I explain it? I've been explaining this a certain way. Both of these things that I'm going to say cannot be false. One can be true, one can be false, and vice versa, but both criteria cannot be false. Number one, first criteria. You're a casual player in Star Rail. You play the game casually. You play it every other day, right? Every other day is fine. Casual, I think that's something we can agree on. But you don't know enough about the game. You're not in depth enough. You don't know the mechanics fully. You're not able to abuse the mechanics. You don't know how to tweak the game to your favor, right? Like you're not a sweat. If you need a specific term, let's just go with that. You're not a sweat, right? But you play the game almost every day for X period of time. Casual player, that's good. Other side of that, you don't play the game every day. You play it on and off. Maybe you play this game 3 times, maybe 4 times max a week, but you know a lot about the game. Your knowledge on the game is peak, it's high. Okay. you're able to manipulate the game. You're able to use different teams. You're able to build whatever team you want. You understand team building. A lot of these things fall into that category. Now, number 1 and number 2 both can't be false. You cannot play the game 3-4 times a week and not know enough knowledge about the game. Otherwise, you will fall behind. You will not succeed in Star Rail. It just doesn't work. There were 3 key bosses that we talked about briefly earlier in stream. And I forgot about one, but now that we talked about it, I'm like, oh shit, you're right. Even I had problems with that boss. It made me switch sustains. Number 1, Swarm King. All right. Now, maybe now that the game has been out for a bit, I'm not reading Swarm King, or I'm not reading off the script. I'm just talking, right? But maybe now Swarm King is a little easier, right? Because we've already progressed throughout the time period. After Swarm King, we had Adventuring, which was Adventuring. I think it was the biggest hard block. Adventuring was a really good check to a lot of players. It let them know you are not as good as you thought you were. You do not understand the game the way you thought you did. You have a bad account, or you have a malnourished account. That's a better way to say that, right? Adventuring gets nerfed. That's the first boss we've ever gotten. The first thing that ever happened in Star Rail, nerfed. Never seen that a day in my life. Didn't know it was possible. But that proved that the large majority of players who were casual, quote unquote, even players that weren't casual, that thought they knew, did not know. And now we have Hule. Hule is bodying motherfuckers, all right? Because they don't understand action value. They don't understand speed. They don't understand how Hule's mechanics work. And that might be because they just don't read it, right? But they don't understand it and they're not using it to their advantage. They don't understand how to stop it. They don't understand mob control. There's a lot of things about just turn-based games in general, Star Rail particularly, that they don't understand. What happens? They get bodied. So these 3 key bosses were pivotal moments in a lot of players' realization of the game. The reason I'm bringing that up is because if you play casually, like every few days or so, right, like 3 days a week or whatever, but you understand the game, these bosses are not an issue to you, right? But if you don't, and you don't understand the game, and you don't play a lot, and playing a lot isn't because like, oh, if you play a lot, you'll learn a lot. No, playing a lot is to keep your account up to date. It's to keep your jades fresh so that you can pull characters, excuse me, when necessary. It's to keep up your resources, the Trailblazer power, so that you grind for particular relics. It's to be able to keep up your traces. It's to keep up your levels, all these different things that you do throughout the day, right? Keep up with the story, events. You can casually do events, right? Because what I do, this is bad. Don't do what I do. I crank out an event in like the last 2-3 days because I just don't want to play it. If it's not a fun event, the last event that I had a really fun time playing that I didn't even realize was fun until I cranked it out in the last 2 days was it Pokemon? I don't remember specifically what it was, but it was I have it recorded on my computer because I was gonna make a video out of it. I never did it. It's the card thing. It's like no. You know what? Here, I'm gonna show you guys. I think I have it on my PC. Let me see. Here we go. This event. All right. I don't remember what this event was, but this was by far one of my favorite events. It had just a simple way of playing it, and then when you clear it, see this? When you clear it, you get like these team bonuses, and it was like a roguelike mode. Yeah, it was a roguelike that wasn't simulated universe. Like it felt like a legit roguelike where you get these buffs and these cards turn into other things, and then you can combine them. And like over here on the left, your whole goal was to combine these different items or get as best of an item as you can to turn it into something else. So I love this. This was great, right? And so what ended up happening was, had I been able to play this game, or had I decided to play this game like, every other day or so, or every day, I would have enjoyed this a lot more. I would have been able to play it a lot more, and I wouldn't have had to rush through the experience. But when I played it, because of the way that I play the game, I had to rush through the experience. Now, imagine that, but for every single game that you decide to play, it's too much to keep up with. So at the end of it all, when I'm talking about like gacha games as a whole, the future of gacha games, I feel like gacha games, without thinking about content yet, I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. When I think about gacha games as a whole, or not as a whole, but like the future of gacha games, you can't play them all. You can't. You just can't, you know, unless you just don't have anything else to do with your life. I don't say that in a derogatory manner, even though it kind of sounds like that. But if you quite literally have nothing to do with your life, then you can play whatever you want. If your job is playing gacha games, then you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? But when you have a full-time job or even a part-time job, you have a 9 to 5, you have a or like I said, a part-time, you have a family, you have kids, you go to school, you have a pet. There's life. When you have life, you can't sit here and play games all fucking day. It is what it is, you know? That's why I say just pick 2, call it a day, and you're chilling. You know, yeah, if your bills are all paid or whatever, fine, sure. And I think that falls more into like kids, right? A lot of the kids, they have a situation. They have a situation like that where, you know, they're not really doing anything. They don't have any responsibilities, and they can do that. I think the new Simulated Universe expansion was like that with the Scepters. If the new sim is like that, I'm on that game all the time. All the time, bro. I'm on that game. But that's gonna be it. As far as like ending it off for content creators, because I'm pretty positive I'll make that video and cut it up and then release it. But as far as that goes with the content for content creators, again, I still think pick 2 games, but it's way harder for you to pick 2 games. And then also, like, if you're making content revolved around that, what do you put on the channel? Or like, how do you push content, this, that, and the third, whatever. There's a lot that goes into it, and certain communities just don't clash, right? We've seen that with Wuthering. I don't think I've seen a single person have a good, strong community where they have Wuthering and Genshin on the same platform, and their comments aren't filled with, well, this wouldn't happen in Wuthering. Woo were better. Or, oh, well, actually, Genshin Impact has the Elements reaction system, so all of our characters are aligned together, and unfortunately, Woo were dead, like Genshin on top. Like, that's it. That's all of the comment section that I see. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I'm out of here. Someone asked me how I can turn a single question into a 30-minute talk. 20 minutes. Suck my dick. But and that's all in good love. You know what I mean? It's all in good love. It's a skill. Yapping is an art form. All right? Yapping is an art form. Like the video, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I can't stand my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the future of gacha content. The future of gacha content. I'm losing my voice. Smell you later.